Hi, it's Patricia Warby, and it's week 4 in my microdosing journey, and a very surprising week. Last week, I didn't have much to report. It was sort of, it felt not much change, but oh boy, how wrong was I? Because by the end of the week, something weird happened, and I got some very specific sort of gut issues. Felt like my insides were being torn apart, and someone was sort of stabbing me in my guts. um, it came on Friday, luckily after I finished work, pretty much, because I work with clients up until about 4:30, 5 o'clock, and I went for a walk, and I suddenly felt really, really rough, and it continued all weekend on and off. Every time I ate, every time I moved, I'd get this wrenching in my guts. Now, you could say maybe I picked up a bug. It's completely possible. That's always possible. But you have to ask, why now? Why would my body refuse to fight that or find it so difficult? Same with COVID, you have to look at the susceptibility of the person. So is the Iboga changing my susceptibility? Is it detoxing me? I think possibly it is. I've woken up this morning. I haven't had a wrenching cramp. I did have a lot of gurgling as well with it, but I had a bit of that overnight. And the reason I'm going on about the symptoms so much is because they're very key, because your body's being kind of communicating with you. It's telling you things that maybe you wouldn't normally notice. And I think particularly the age I'm at, which, I'm in my 50s, is sort of a menopausal age for women. And perhaps, therefore, this journey that I'm on is very different to the other YouTubers out there who are doing their kind of microdosing journey, and they're in their 20s or 30s. And this is a very different stage in life, and your body is already quite toxic. It's picked up a lot of burdens over its lifetime, foods, maybe some of the chemicals you've used over your lifetime, cleaning products, makeup. For me, because in my early life, I did, basically, when I was a teenager, I wanted to get some money, and I didn't want to work in a shop, and I didn't want to work in an office. And so I went sort of self-employed, as it were, and I advertised, and I did a lot of painting and decorating when I was in my teens. And I can remember one job I had where I was paint stripping using a blowtorch up a ladder. It's really ridiculous now when I think about it. And in fact, my dad put his foot down and said, "You're not doing that." He thought it was too dangerous. And I can remember as a teenager going, "Oh, Dad," but he was absolutely right. It was too dangerous. But I did do a lot of paint stripping and using toxic chemicals. And then in my 20s, I became a gardener. And as a gardener, you were often spraying things and adding pesticides and herbicides and so on. So I think my toxic burden's quite high. I also know my liver enzymes don't function well because of my genetic phenotype, because I've had my DNA read, and I know what my SNPs, as they call them, single nucleotide polymorphisms. You don't need to know what that is, but it's basically a very simple mutation in genes that are very common. And it seems to be that they affect the way that you detox. Some of them do. They affect the proteins in your liver, the CYP enzymes. So I don't detox well. I know that. So that's why paint fumes really affect me, petrol fumes, any kind of perfumes, all those sorts of things. So I think I'm probably on a detox. And week 2 was the cold sore, which, that's gone down. You can't really notice it now, but I can still feel there's something not quite right there. And now this gut issue. And what I feel this morning actually is really interesting is my liver, which is sort of on the right side, is lighter. I can't explain it, but I just feel lighter, and like something's gone through my system. And I can remember yesterday morning sitting up in bed, and I could taste sort of paint fumey, and there's nothing in the house that has been painted. It's as if it's coming from me. And whether my brain is recreating the scent from maybe some of the toxins that are circulating in my blood, I've no idea. But there's definitely something going on now. And this is picking up momentum. It's showing me all sorts of stuff as well about how I've been ignoring how exhausted I am. And, you know, because I'm a giver and I love to do what I do, you know, I love my work and how I help people, haven't really been looking after myself as well as I could be. And I haven't taken enough time. I mean, I do take time off in the week, but sometimes you just need an extended break. And so I've got a break coming up next week, where I'm, you know, holiday, basically. I'm taking a holiday. Yes, I need one. That's what the Iboga is telling me. And it's kind of saying, and you've got all this stuff you need to clear, you know. The dreams have been really interesting too, about disasters. And I had one yesterday where there was an overflow in the bathroom, and I know it was related to something that happened to a friend of mine, but this was very specific because it was about me trying to deal with it and not having support. I mean, that was the dream. You know, I needed to get a screwdriver to turn the water off, and I couldn't find a screwdriver. And it was just it was panicky. When I woke up, I was still kind of like, oh, it was only a dream. You know, there isn't actually water gushing out the bathroom. So uh, I can definitely feel that something's processing. Um, I definitely feel that a lot of the toxins are being released, and so it hasn't been a comfortable journey. There's just no way I'm going to lie to you and say, oh, this has been magnificent. It's just been really, really great, and I just feel wonderful. No, I've actually felt pretty crappy, actually. And yesterday was an on day. Today is a sort of midday, sort of coming down, you know, off it, and then tomorrow will be a normal day, and then back on Wednesday. So the plus side, and there is a plus side. Obviously, I've already mentioned one, which is, you know, so far I feel a lot lighter. But also going out for a walk yesterday, despite the cramping, which I still had, um, everything started to my hearing was more acute. So the sounds of the forest. I went walking in a local forest, and obviously it's spring here, so birds are going absolutely berserk because, you know, it's just bird life everywhere, and you can hear all the different bird sounds. And I was so acutely aware of it. I could hear a differentiation was much more acute. And then the colors and the shapes of things and the dappled sunlight at the roots and the leaves and the flowers, I was really noticing it in a way I haven't done. The last time that happened to me was after a detox week in a special kind of hotel where it was run by an evangelistic woman who believed green juicing was the solution to everything. And we did a green juicing week, and then raw food towards the end. We were allowed raw food towards the end, but you started off with, I think it was 4 days of juicing only. That was all you took into your body. And it was wheatgrass and barley grass, and they're very powerful detoxers. And I was as sick as you can imagine. I just kept throwing up. So you ask yourself, why do you do that? Well, by the end of the week, you do feel amazing. And I remember going for a walk then with a friend of mine and noticing again the colors of living things. I could actually perceive light coming from them, and I've not lost that. But yesterday was a reminder of how that felt. You're one with nature. That's how you feel, and you're part of this living organism. I've also found my concentration when I'm not exhausted or tired is very much better. I'm taking in things, and I'm kind of making network connections in my brain, because I watched a really exciting video yesterday about AI. Jordan Peterson, who I follow, who's a really interesting, well, he's very intellectual. I mean, some of the stuff he says, he always uses the word corpus all the time. He's very academic. But he was talking to this other academic guy who's a specialist in AI, and they were having this really, really intense and wide-ranging conversation about the future of AI and language models, and how it could simulate parts of the brain and even the emotional brain eventually. That's possibly coming in as well, which is a bit dystopian, is a bit scary. But I was really taking it in, and I was having all sorts of thoughts about how that could be used positively for my work and my business as a therapist, because he was making analogies with how a therapist works with a client. Is you keep reiterating things, but you ask in different ways, and that's how you interrogate the AI program Chat GBT, for instance. CBT, isn't it? No, CPT. Oh, whatever it is. Anyway, um, that you just, it's all in the prompt. It's all in the questions you ask, and that really resonated with me. So there's definitely been some positive and powerful effects this week. I just wonder what next week will bring, because I'm going to do it for 6 weeks. So um, we're at week 4 now. Is it going to accelerate? It feels like it is. And yeah, it's an amazing thing to do, and I just look forward to telling you how the next week goes. So thank you for listening. Take care of yourselves. Bye for now.